Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Week 2 League of Legends Fantasy Footballers. I am very excited for the matchups this week. I just got home from work and the game's about to start in an hour, so I'm going to try my best to keep it short, but I definitely want to go through every key player matchup here like I did last week. So, yeah, it may not end up as short as I think. It never does. But we'll start off with the matchup of the week here with myself and Mommy Mirza. You know how it is. Beefing since draft time. So you already know everybody's going to be watching this one right here. We got Lamar Jackson versus CJ Stroud. He gets to go against Chicago, so he might throw a couple picks, you know what I'm saying? Probably not, but he might. Lamar gets to go against the Raiders, so great matchup right there. If I'm not expecting Lamar to run as much as he did last week, but I do expect him to throw a couple touchdowns through the air this week. So he might actually get to that projection. That one's going to be close for both of those QBs. Pretty solid on both ends. ETN versus Kyron. ETN's projection is 13.56. That should be the same as Kyron's. Kyron should be right around 13 as well. Solid runner, but that line is broken. Honestly, just decimated. So I don't know how much push they're going to get for their running backs. Javonte versus Brian Robinson. Brian is definitely a winner in that matchup. Javonte didn't show much last week, but it's the best we got out here. Waddle versus A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is out projecting Jalen Waddle, but I think Jalen Waddle is going to have an explosive game. I think I'm projecting him around like 80, 90 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, I'm projecting against Atlanta like 60, 70, and maybe less, honestly. That's just what I'm hoping for. He's a beast, though, and he gets to go against the Falcons' defense, pretty suspect. So his projection's probably pretty right, but I think Waddle will score pretty close to A.J. Brown to give me a wash there. Keenan versus Diggs. Not a knock at Diggs. I think he scored a lot of points last week because of the touchdown. I'm not expecting him to get a touchdown every week. Keenan, on the other hand, had a lot of targets. This was before Rome got injured, so I'm expecting a higher target right here for Keenan Allen this week. If he's playing this week, I know he's got a questionable tag. He's definitely going to outscore Diggs this week. Mark my words. Andrews versus Kittle. I think Andrews is going to have a good bounce back week, and everybody who really hyped up Isaiah Likely. I'm not saying Likely is not going to play a role in the offense, but he's definitely not going to score 30 points week by week. I think some of that action is going to go back to Lamar Action Jackson's favorite dude, Mark Andrews. So I think Andrews is actually going to outscore Kittle. Kittle's like weird. He's more of a blocking tight end at this point in his career. Not that he's not a good receiver. There's just too many weapons, and the volume's got to go somewhere. Garrett Wilson versus J.K. J.K. had some pretty solid carries last week. He only had 10, though, so I'm concerned that people are a little too excited for 10 carries and a couple breakout runs that is not a very sustainable thing to occur. Garrett Wilson, though, is a beast. You know his volume is going to be there when it's there. I think Aaron Rodgers loves Garrett Wilson. I think he's going to keep fighting for more volume for Garrett Wilson. That's something that he talked about in the post game. He didn't get enough targets. He had 11. So if that goes up at all, y'all are toast. Devontae Adams versus Tank Dell. They're projected equally. I like Tank Dell. I have Tank Dell in a couple leagues. I think Tank Dell is probably CJ Stroud's actual favorite target on this team, even though he's lined up next to two other great receivers. I think he'll finish with more points than Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. I just have that feeling. Devontae Adams, though, gets to go against a really good Baltimore defense, so I'm not really expecting him much. But you never know with Devontae Adams. Sometimes he has an explosive week, so that's what I'm really hoping for here. Baker Mayfield versus Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has the better offense, but Baker Mayfield has been on fire. He has to go against the Detroit Lions defense. But I like my odds with Baker Mayfield. I think he's just been really lighting it up lately. Saints get to go against Dallas. Dallas gets to go against the Saints, so our defenses are going to get to go against each other's offenses. That's going to be fun. I think they're projected 9-8 or 11. 9-11. Anyways, the Saints defense scored pretty good last week. Dallas is a solid defense as well, but Saints just put on a pretty good show. We'll see if they can keep up. Overall, I think I'm going to beat Mommy Mirza. I'm going to project like 135 me, 128 for Mommy Mirza over here. Winning that one. All right, next matchup, we got Alex versus Adam. Jalen Hurts versus Tua turned the ball over. Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, we'll get a larger sample size soon, but my biggest fear last week, I talked about it in the video, is that Saquon Barkley's there. No Travis Kelce. They're clearly not going to rely on the tush push and Jalen Hurts to run everything nowadays, because it really is important to have a connection with your center. If the Bears' shitty offensive line has proved anything, is that the center actually does matter a little bit more than people realize. So I think Tua in a potential shootout against the Bills will be nice, but Jalen Hurts does get to go against the Falcons, and I don't know. Those two will probably both score like 24, 25 points. I'm not expecting Jalen Hurts to score 28, 30 points like he was last year, like every game. Taylor versus Barkley, that's a good matchup. Taylor gets to go against Green Bay. We all saw what happened to Green Bay. They just let up like 30 points in the game, so good chance Taylor scores a lot. But Barkley gets to go against the Falcons, so 17 each sounds about right. Another wash. Kamara versus Najee, that's probably where the biggest gap will be filled here. I think Kamara will probably get a lot of dump passes here, because Derek Carr is going to get pressured pretty hard, and so I think the game plan here is going to be sending the running backs up the middle for a dump off pass. So give me Kamara. He's got a lot of more upside. Najee Harris. Jaylen Warren was hurt coming back into game one, so I'm expecting Jaylen Warren to consume a few more snaps week by week. And week 2, you might get a couple more from him. And if he explodes, he might stay in. Pittman versus Jamar Chase. That's not even a question. You've got to ask me who I think is going to win that one. You're trolling me. Downs versus McAfee. If Downs plays, I like Downs, but no, I don't know. Metcalf, even though I don't like him much for fantasy, I think he's a unit. He's never really proven to be better than a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. But he's a wide receiver 2 here, and Josh Downs is still not healthy, so give me Metcalf here. Kincaid versus Kelce. Both dog shit, honestly. Warren versus Flowers. I just talked about Warren, but I'm not expecting his snap count to really, really go up. He would really need a touchdown in order to even out the points with Zay Flowers here. Addison versus Moss, just another hurt player trying to be played here. I don't know, because people don't update their teams as frequently as me. But potential Zach Moss win out here just because he actually gets playing time, and Addison might not play. And even if he does play, I wouldn't start him. Lawrence versus Geno, give me Trevor Lawrence. Seahawks versus Pittsburgh, give me Pittsburgh. Seattle gets to go against the Patriots, but everyone talked mad shit about the Patriots last week. They just won against a good team. Even though the Bengals start off really shitty, that's still a good team, and everyone expected them to lose. So, yeah, we'll see. Pittsburgh gets to go against Denver. And Bo Nix about to throw some picks. You know what I'm saying? That's what people are saying around the block. If I were Alex, I would be starting Justin Fields this week over any of these quarterbacks, to be honest. I think Fields has the highest running upside. I know I'm very biased in the situation, but running upside from a QB is really hard to beat from that position. So if he's healthy and he's playing, you should start him, because he could drop you 30 points. Oh, didn't say who I was going to win. I'm going to go with Adam here, just because Adam's team I think is a little bit better overall. Brownie versus Brett. So this is an interesting matchup. Jaden Daniels' fantasy value has proven in week 1 that it could go higher. He had a really solid running week. He didn't get to throw any deep balls, but Jaden Daniels, if anybody knows, is really, really known for his deep balls. Richardson, who got 2 successful deep balls off last week, not known for his deep balls. I think it's going to switch. I think because Richardson's known for his running. I think Jaden Daniels and Richardson will have good, solid, floor weeks. They'll both run really well. And then Daniels might actually get to showcase his arm, especially against the suspect Giants defense. Richardson, I guess he's going against Green Bay, so they might actually both put up like 30 points. I'm not going to lie to you. Pretty solid on that end. Give me Ford versus Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a freaking fossil. If you're starting him, I'm sorry, man. Gibbs versus Ramondre. I like Ramondre's usage. I don't like the offense scheme that much. Like I said, their offense is pretty trash. Ramondre, like the offense goes through Ramondre, but if the receivers can't get going, it's going to be really, really dark in that room for him soon because they're going to just clog the line. Jahmyr Gibbs, on the other hand, has a top offensive line, top 3. I can't argue that. It's really hard to, as a Bears fan, want to hate the Lions as much as you can, but that line can really push and just create some working space for the running backs. So give me Gibbs by a mile. Olave versus Jefferson. I have been off of Olave for a couple of years now. A lot of people will argue it's the quarterback, but like when does he eventually like start to catch these balls, and when do like these air yards actually start to count towards something? He could have an explosive weekend. I might eat my words, but obviously I think Justin Jefferson's winning that matchup. Rashi versus London. I've been off of London since he was drafted. I think he is solid raw talent, but he's just not on the right team. Rashi Rice, on the other hand, is a solid raw talent that is on the right team, so give me Rashi. Ingram versus Laporta. Give me Ingram. If the Lions' game plan looks anything like last week, we're not going to see much action from the receivers. I think Laporta had a great year last year because the Lions were constantly in close games. They were constantly trying to like shove down the field to get like just close out games. I think their game plan has completely changed this year. It looks like it has changed this year. McLaurin versus Godwin. This is a tough one because I think McLaurin has a lot of upside with Jaden Daniels. If Daniels gets to throw the ball downfield, like I said, McLaurin will be the guy to catch them. It could be pretty nice. Godwin, on the other hand, is constantly getting usage, so you can trust on his points being there. Where if McLaurin actually gets the usage, he might explode. Pretty solid from that end. Deontay is just. I'm just gonna keep shouting, bro. There are 3 receivers on that team, 3 shitty running backs on that team that all get used. They're all trying to get them the ball, and none of them are gonna do great until 1 or 2 of them decide that they're the guy, or the coach decides that they're the guy. I don't think Deontay is gonna win that spot. I think Legette's gonna win that spot. I think Thielen will be the 2. Deontay will fade to some sort of gadget role somewhere in the slot. I don't know what they'll do with him, but I have not been very excited about Deontay. They blamed the Steelers. He went to an even worse offensive situation. So Shaheed all day. Shaheed has a quarterback to actually throw the ball into his hands. Really good deep ball threat week by week. Obviously, some weeks he'll have like 2 points. Some weeks he'll have like 30, depending on if that deep ball lands, right? But I do like Shaheed's upside. I think he's getting more and more target share, which is nice throughout the last couple of years. So I've been high on Shaheed. Goff versus Cousins. I think y'all heard me talk about the throwing game. They might not even let Goff throw that much again. So his projection at 24.8 is purely if the receivers decide to just run into the end zone without him having to do much else, really. Essentially like something like last week where J-Mo was just wide the fuck open, and he just walked into the end zone for a deep ball. But Kirk Cousins coming back from that injury, he looked really, really awkward last week. Can't get much from him. Looks like he has the Chargers defense. Chargers defense should do good against Bryce. You can pretty much bank on a pick or 2 coming in from them. But then again, the Niners get to go against Minnesota, so you can bank on Sam Darnold trying to stretch the field. getting caught, fumbling the ball every once in a while. So it's two solid defenses. But I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Brownie this week. I have a small hunch that the first three players here, then Daniels, Ford, and Gibbs, are really going to produce for him, give him that real big upside, and then Rashee Rice is going to outplay London, and that'll be the closer. Deontay might give him a gooser, but I don't think it's going to matter, to be completely honest with you. Oh my God. Infy's name is just killing me. All right, Infy versus the Sausage Fighter. Another interesting matchup here. We got Caleb going against Josh Allen. Give me Josh Allen. I'm a Bears fan, but from a fantasy perspective, let's be real here. It's going to take a minute for Caleb to figure things out. That's okay. We're here for it. We've given every other quarterback time. We'll give him time. It's cool. Do I think he's going to explode week 2? Maybe. I mean, it's really a coin flip, but you can rely on Josh Allen to going against a really bad Dolphins defense to do something. James Cook, I'm not high on James Cook. The only reason he gets any yardage is because they have to keep a spy on Josh Allen, so that's really the only upside to Cook. Jacobs has a Q tag. I think we all know Jordan Love is hurt, so they might have to funnel the offense through the running backs, but knowing that that's the game plan and that every other NFL team knows that's the game plan, it may not look pretty. It might look like the first half of the game, all game for Josh Jacobs next week. He might get 1 to 2 yards per carry, maybe even some negative yardage, and then, I don't know. Let's see what the Q tag is on him. Limited practice, back. He had back issues last year. That's why I traded him away. If he has back issues again this year, it's not looking great for him. Singletary versus Montgomery. Singletary's ass, straight up. He's on an ass offense. He's an ass running back. Yeah. So give me David M. Give me the Amelodian. David M. Just like last week. You have to rely on him getting a touchdown, but he's in a good offense. Probably going to get him touchdown opportunities, so I'll bank on that rather than trusting Singletary. Might actually have one decent run out of the 50. Yeah, I don't know. David M screwed me last week, but I mean, overtime touchdown. He ran for like 80 yards. Like, not much you could do about that, man. Marvin's Room versus Tyreek. Give me Tyreek. I think Marvin Harrison's going to have a better week this week. Obviously, he's not going to have one target. If he has one target again this week, you might want to start panicking if you're a Marvin Harrison owner. I still have high hopes for him, but I don't think he's Tyreek level, right? Let's simmer down now. Ayuk versus Neighbors, same problem. Talented prospect in Neighbors, but Brandon Ayuk going to be another week with practice with his team. I think that timing is everything in football. You saw last week that Ayuk had great opportunities to score, but the timing was just a little bit off. And if you're a little bit off in the NFL, which is a game of inches, you're not going to score. But I think this week it's going to look much better for him. Parkinson is another tight end that I'm high on. With no Puka Nacua, those targets are going to go to other teammates, and the tight end normally when a receiver goes down start to see some more usage, especially Parkinson. He seemed like he was running a good amount of routes. Likely, I wouldn't start Likely. I would not start Jameson Williams. As somebody who owned Jameson Williams last year, you don't know when he's going to boom or bust. It's really hard to predict when he's going to. He's a boom or bust player. He only runs deep routes. He spreads the field. Not likely happening. Speaking of Likely, I don't think he's going to score 30 points again. He might be solid for you, but I guess your only other option is Dalton Schultz. So it really doesn't matter which one you play. You're probably going to get 5 to 7 points. Jaden Reed, I'm not playing Jaden Reed without Jordan Love. I'm not going to rely on Malik Willis. Jordan Reed might get some running plays and he might explode for a run, but I'm not gonna put my money on that happening. Keon Coleman versus Thomas. Those are both phenomenal rookie receivers. They'll both probably score exactly where they're projected unless one of them gets a touchdown. My bet this week would be that Keon Coleman will actually score a touchdown, and people will start to hype up the same way they started hyping up Brian Thomas last week. Keon is in a really good spot against Miami defense. His target share and his routes ran were actually a phenomenal number to look at from a rookie perspective. Clearly, as rookies go on, they start to see an increased role, but his role is already it looks solidified. So I like Coleman. Minshew versus Herbert. Give me Herbert. Minshew is a meme. We all love Minshew. He's going to blow up some weeks, but against the Ravens, fat chance. Herbert gets to go against Carolina. Good defense. Actually, let's give Carolina some props because their defense is pretty okay, but their offense is just horrendous and just puts them in terrible situations. They get tired, and you don't really their fantasy points will never reflect it because they're constantly getting picked on. Philly versus Bears D. Give me the Bears D. I think they're gonna need a couple turnovers. I think the turnovers are pretty solid from them. I think the Eagles get to go against Kirk Cousins. One last week removed. One more week of practice with healthy Kirk Cousins. I think Atlanta figures out something here. I don't know what, but it should be a closer game than this projection is looking at. If not, then Kirk Cousins might actually throw like 2-3 pick sixes, and the defense for Indy might actually win. But I think I'm gonna go with the sausage farter. I think it's just a matter of like some of these key players and Tyreek Hill and like David Montgomery. Yeah, actually, I don't know, man. I think these projections are really close. This is going to be a fun one to watch for sure. But if I were to roll the dice, I'd probably put it on the sausage farter here. Don't like Cook. Don't like Singletary. I like Reed as a player. I just don't like his situation, and I don't like Minshew's. We got Moise versus Alex. Alex versus Alex crime. That's what we like to see. We got Skyler Wiley versus Joe Burrow. Kyler has rushing upside. If any of you watched the whole video, you know I'm talking about rushing QBs and their potential upside. Kyler could maybe figure out how to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison. That'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be pretty legit. Joe Burrow is going against a defense that just shut down pretty hard a lot of the Ravens players. If no Higgins, then Joe Burrow might struggle again for another week, and probably give Kyler the matchup there. Achane confirmed starting tonight, so that's nice, but he gets to go against Bijan. Give me Bijan. Mason versus Rashadius White. Give me Mason, especially if Christian McCaffrey isn't starting. They say he's day-to-day. Nobody believes that. That's absolutely bullshit. If teams are buying into that shit still, I'm sorry. Even if he plays, he's not going to look good. Achilles tendonitis plus a calf strain is actually like he has one operable leg, and I get CMC on one leg normally is better than most running backs, but it's just not going to look pretty. Amon-Ra versus Debo. Give me Debo. Amon-Ra is projected higher than Debo, but I think Debo has the better matchup. I think Amon-Ra, and I talked about Jared Goff earlier, it doesn't look like the Lions are going to rely on their passing game that much this year. They're going to let Jared Goff do his thing, throw a couple passes, but it looks like they're really going to funnel most of that offense through the run, and that's just how it is. So I'm going to go Debo here. Cooper Kupp versus Judy. It's Kupp by 10 light years. I was high on Kupp this year. I was really hoping he would fall to me again in this draft, but I got too greedy. I thought I would get on the reach around. Lesson learned, greedy loot, get your booty looted. It just happens. Cooper Kupp, I was screaming from the rooftops, is that he's gonna come back being Stafford's number one receiver. And before Puka got hurt, and anybody even says Puka got hurt, it's not. Before he got hurt, Cooper Kupp was getting a majority of the targets. They were already funneling him the ball. They're back on their bullshit, man. It's Stafford and Kupp. Well, McBride versus Goddard. Give me McBride. McBride's target share is pretty nice. He gets a lot of passes for sure. Goddard, you don't really know what you're getting from him. Could vulture a couple touchdowns. That's probably the only way he outplays McBride. Smith versus Ridley. Give me Smith. Another wide receiver that I really like this year. Devontae Smith, really high target share. Looking really good this year, creating a lot of separation with little to no like wiggle room. Really, he's just really talented. He's just finding himself open. Like he's making himself open. Calvin Ridley, another solid receiver, but he gets to go against the Jets this week. So he's going back-to-back weeks against really good secondaries. So it's quite unfortunate for him. Zeke versus Pollard. I think Pollard had a fluke week. I think he looked really good in the first half against the Bears. After that, he didn't really look that well. Zeke is Zeke. He's probably going to bowling ball in a touchdown or two. That's just what he gets, That's just how it is with Zeke, You get the bowling ball, you knock down some pins. Derek Carr versus Stafford. I like Stafford. I think Derek Carr played a pretty solid week last week, but Stafford's the better overall QB. No line, but I still think he manages to get some fantasy value again this week. He was just finding ways to get his team involved. Browns versus Jacks. KC versus Cincinnati. If Burrow is not looking that good, I think KC's points will probably be better than the Browns. They did a really good job of really holding the Ravens to what should have been a lot more points, to be completely honest with you. This week I'm going to go with the upset. I know there's a couple really heavy-handed matchups on Merz's end, but I think Alex is going to get. I'm going to say it, the two players that are going to absolutely shred Merz's team this week are going to be Bijan and Debo. And he's gonna be watching those games, and he's gonna be in absolute shambles. Eduardo versus Tim. This is a fun matchup. I think these two are like potential rivals, low key though. Mahomes versus Rodgers. Give me Mahomes. Rodgers looked. Let's be honest. Rodgers didn't look that good last week. He had a lot of missed throws. The timing was ass, and that's what happens when you don't practice. It's probably going to take him another week or two to figure out the timing with his players. If you don't practice with your players, that's what it looks like for the first few weeks. It happened on the Packers, and it's happening again on the Jets. So give me Mahomes because he actually plays with his team. He actually cares about his team. He loves his team. Has had pretty solid connections with all of his guys. Henry versus Breece Hall. This is a fun one because Derrick Henry is projected lower than Breece Hall. But he gets to go against the Raiders, bro. We might actually see like a 2 to 3 TD game from Derrick Henry this week. That's legitimately what I'm projecting. Breece Hall gets to go against the stingy Tennessee defense, whereas Derrick Henry gets to go against the Raiders. So give me Derrick Henry. I like Breece Hall overall as a better running back this year. But this week, give me Henry. Mixon versus Pacheco. Give me Mixon. Overall usage, way higher. Pacheco only gets to really do things when the script is there for them. Whereas I think Mixon's just gonna straight up get I think he's gonna get like 18 to 22 carries a week. Especially with like I don't know, man. Like I think the Texans finally have a running back that they can do things with, and the line is finally healthy, and they had gotten that line so they can develop a run game. So I think they're gonna stick to that game plan. I think CJ Stroud is talented enough to just get things done through the air efficiently, which is why they want to run the ball a lot more, because if you can get them to bite on the line, you can get them to just fall apart downfield. So I think that's the game plan against Chicago, because our secondary is really good, and if they don't get them to kind of like cheat and move up, then it's not going to work for them. DJ Moore versus CeeDee Lamb. I know this is going to be crazy, and I know everyone's going to absolutely hate me. But I think DJ Moore is an outscore CeeDee Lamb this week. I don't care. Amari Cooper versus Mike Evans. Give me Mike Evans. It's not that I don't think Amari Cooper's a talented quarterback. I think Amari Cooper just has a terrible quarterback as a human being and quarterback. He's dog shit. And Mike Evans is pretty talented, and he has a pretty hot Baker Mayfield throwing to him. Taysom versus Pitts. Pitts showed last week that he actually might have some upside this year. But it's really funny because he always has one of these games every year where he has like one solid week, and everyone's like, yeah, he's back. He's so back. And then like he just gives you zeros for like 3 or 4 games straight. Give me Taysom Hill because you can rely on him getting used as a tight end, running back, quarterback, receiver, lineman, pole smoker. He does it all, bro. He's just that guy. Okamo Games Fair. James Okamo Games Fair versus Nico Collins. Nico Collins is spreading. Like, everyone's so high on him. He's a solid receiver. I'm not saying he's not. I just think that with the game plan against the Bears and the fact that you have to go and split touches with Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, it's going to really be hard to just pin down which receiver is going to do good, but you can rely on Connor to get the ball week by week, because even though there was a few other running backs getting involved in the run game there, it seems like doesn't matter. James Conner will get a majority of the work. Worthy versus Pickens. My biggest concern is when Hollywood Brown comes back, that Worthy isn't going to be getting as many looks. He only had 3 targets last week, so 2 of them turned into touchdowns. If that doesn't happen every week, it might not look that great for him, to be honest. Hollywood Brown coming back would steal from his target share as well, because they're going to do the same job spreading the field. Pickens has proven that he's just the guy there, even with a shitty throwing offense, passing offense in the Steelers, because I'm a big fan of Justin Fields, but the fact is he runs the ball a lot, and there's a running game that gets pushed when he is on the field, because that you don't know who to mark. You don't know if you're going to mark the running back. You don't know if you're going to mark the QB. It's really hard, but if you know Justin Fields, you know he likes to take his first read, and pretty much his first read only, and that first read is going to be Pickens. So Pickens does have some upside there. If Hollywood Brown, though, doesn't play, I'll still take Worthy, because as a rookie, you'll probably see more than 3 targets in the next game, and then in the next game, you'll probably start to see a plateau after a few games. But he's fast, man. He's fast. He's really exciting. I'm excited. I definitely am excited, but I am fearful for the Hollywood Brown take. Prescott versus Levis. We all just saw what Will Levis did. His job's on the line, and he has to go against the Jets defense. This dude might throw 2 to 3 picks again, and he might lose his job. So the fact that I have to say Prescott's going to win a matchup makes me fucking sick. All right? God. Dakota is going to win a matchup. All right, yeah. So at the bright side, if he throws 3 to 4 picks, I guess he has the defense, so he'll just recover those points like it never even happened. So I guess that's a good plan. That's good. I like that. Ravens get to go against the Raiders, and I talked about the Raiders and the Ravens matchup a couple times a day. Ravens are in a good smash spot. If the defense does good and they puts the ball in a good position, Derrick Henry's going to smash. I don't know. The Raiders don't look that great. I'm going to keep it 100. God damn it, we suck again. Freaking Raiders, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to take the Jets defense. Nah. I think they're both going to score 20 points, low key. Defenses might be a wash. But give me Eddie's matchup. Whoa, dude, their projections are so high. That's gonna be another fun one. I think week 2 is it's got so many great matchups. But obviously, my matchup is gonna be featured for the matchup of the week here. I think the slight draft beef is carrying that matchup for sure. But it's a lot of exciting matchups for week 2, man. People drafted really well. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are excited, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you guys again next week for the Bahoud breakdown. Yeah, take it easy.